Have you ever finally achieved what you thought would make you happy, only to feel a strange emptiness quietly creeping in? You get the promotion, the relationship, the house. You feel elated. But then, almost without warning, it fades. And you're left wondering, was that it? You're not alone in this experience. In fact, this is one of the most common and confusing paradoxes of modern life. Tony Robbins, author, speaker, and strategist to millions, shares a sobering truth. How great is life if you achieve everything you want and you're not happy? Not very. Despite wealth, recognition, and external success, Robbins found that even self-made billionaires often felt hollow. Only a few, he noted, seemed genuinely fulfilled. So, why? Why does achieving more sometimes feel like we're gaining less? It turns out that our relentless pursuit of happiness can sometimes be the very thing that prevents us from actually experiencing it. This video is about that exact dilemma. It's not just about what blocks our happiness, but how those very struggles can lead us to a deeper, more resilient form of joy. You'll hear from Arthur Brooks, Harvard happiness researcher, who explores the inner mechanics of satisfaction, and Ware, who coined the term expectation gap, Laurie Santos from Yale, and of course, Tal Ben-Shahar and Tony Robbins, whose real-world frameworks help us rewire our inner state. And alongside these modern voices, we'll reflect on ancient wisdom, like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, whose Stoic teachings echo through time, reminding us, strength isn't born from comfort. It's forged in how we respond to discomfort. This isn't just a breakdown of barriers. It's an invitation to build your inner fortress. Are you ready? Imagine this. You've just achieved something big. A new job, a pay raise, the body you've worked for, or even a long-awaited milestone in your personal life. You feel joy, accomplishment, relief. But within weeks, or even days, that rush dissolves, and something inside you quietly whispers, "What's next?" This cycle has a name. Psychologists call it the hedonic treadmill, and understanding it may be one of the most important steps on your path to real happiness. What is the hedonic treadmill? Arthur Brooks, a Harvard professor and one of today's leading voices on human flourishing, defines it like this. The brain is wired for homeostasis, a return to baseline. What we think will bring lasting happiness only gives us a brief spike. Then we adapt and want more. Brooks compares it to a treadmill because the faster we run, the more we chase external rewards like money, recognition, or pleasure, the faster the belt moves beneath our feet. And yet, we stay in the same place emotionally. Dr. Laurie Santos echoes this from her research at Yale. Our brains are bad at predicting what will make us happy. We miswant. We pursue things that give only fleeting boosts, while believing they'll change our lives. And here's the painful part. This is not your fault. It's nature's design. Homeostasis. Why you're wired to never feel done. Homeostasis is your body and mind's way of maintaining balance. It's why your body adjusts after drinking caffeine, and it's why the thrill of a new achievement fades faster than we'd like. Arthur Brooks puts it this way. Mother Nature doesn't want you to be satisfied, because satisfied people don't strive. It's a survival mechanism. But in the modern world, it becomes an emotional trap. When you constantly seek satisfaction from external things, titles, luxury, applause, we're not moving toward happiness. We're running harder, but staying stuck. The bad four. These are 4 false promises. Arthur Brooks identifies what he calls the 4 sirens of unhappiness: money, power, pleasure, fame. All of them promise joy. All of them deliver spikes, never sustenance. And the deeper danger: once we get a taste, we don't feel free to let go. We become afraid of losing what we've gained. Brooks describes this as the addiction-fear cycle. What starts as ambition turns into fear. You're no longer running toward joy. You're running from the fear of falling behind. And that's when the treadmill speeds up. Now we're chasing to avoid pain, not to gain peace. What the Stoics already knew. Thousands of years ago, the Stoic philosopher Epictetus warned, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. The Stoics understood what neuroscience confirms today. External things are always fleeting. The only durable peace comes from within. How we judge, interpret, and choose. Seneca, writing in a time of chaos, said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." So let me ask you, where in your life do you feel like you're running on a treadmill? What are you chasing that never seems to last? And more importantly, what would it mean to step off? Not to stop growing, but to start choosing a different path. A path built not on more, but on meaning. Now imagine this. You've had a good day. Nothing terrible happened. Maybe even something went well. But instead of feeling satisfied, you feel slightly disappointed. Empty. Why? It's not what happened, it's what you expected to happen. This is the hidden trap. What social impact economist Dr. Nat Ware calls the expectation gap. Unhappiness doesn't come from reality itself. It comes from the gap between our expectations and that reality. The core idea: we don't react to life. We react to our beliefs about it. Let's break it down. Ware's research shows that humans are terrible at predicting happiness. We imagine how good something will feel. But what matters most is not how good it actually is, but how it compares to what we expected. For example, Olympic medalists, bronze winners, are often happier than silver medalists. Why? Because bronze exceeded expectations, silver fell short. Salaries. People earning 60,000 can feel happier than those earning 100,000 if they expected less. So it's not our life outcomes that create misery. It's the mental blueprint we unconsciously compare them to. The three gaps that wreck our joy. First is the imagination gap. This is the gap between our imagined ideal and reality. Social media makes this worse. We're bombarded with filtered vacations, highlight reels, airbrushed perfection. Ware notes that technology and advertising fuel unrealistic standards. We expect every trip to be life-changing, every partner to feel like a soulmate, every career to be passion-driven, profitable, and purpose-filled. And when life feels normal, we feel cheated. Second is the interpersonal gap. This one's devastating. We compare ourselves to others, but only to those we perceive as above us. We rarely compare down. Instead, we look at celebrities, influencers, friends with perfect skin, or six-figure jobs, and feel small. But here's the distortion. We compare our messy insides to their curated outsides. As Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and Stoic thinker, put it, "The opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them knows anything about the subject." What if the subject is you? Third is the intertemporal gap. This is when your current life doesn't live up to your past peak. You remember being younger, more driven, more in love, or you recall a time when things just flowed. Now, you feel stuck, behind. Less. Ware warns this can happen when parents overinflate a child's sense of specialness. You're amazing, the best, you'll change the world. Without anchoring those expectations in reality, adulthood becomes a series of disappointments. And it's not just parents. You may be unconsciously doing this to yourself. What Robbins adds, the pain of misplaced expectations. Tony Robbins, through years of working with people across the world, says, trade your expectations for appreciation and your whole life changes. In his words, a beautiful state begins not when life meets your ideals, but when you stop demanding that it must. He puts it bluntly. People will do what they do. Expecting otherwise destroys your peace. Ancient echoes. Stoic wisdom on expectations. The Stoic Epictetus taught, when you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Then you will forget your anger. In modern language, stop expecting others, or even yourself, to be perfect. Realign your expectations with what is, not with what should have been. That shift can free you. So take a moment to ask yourself, where in your life are you comparing reality to an imagined ideal? Is it your body, your success, your relationship, your past? What would it feel like to loosen the grip of that expectation and meet life where it is, instead of where you think it should be? You might discover that your life isn't lacking. It's just waiting to be seen clearly. Here's a strange truth. Much of what we chase in life was never what we really wanted. We just thought it was. Psychologists call this miswanting, the act of desiring things that we wrongly predict will make us happy. According to Dr. Laurie Santos, we don't realize how often our intuitions about happiness lead us astray. We pursue what we think will make us happy, but end up unfulfilled. Why circumstances often don't deliver. Think about it. You tell yourself, if I make more money, I'll feel safe. If I move to a better city, I'll finally be at peace. If I get into a relationship, I'll stop feeling lonely. And maybe some of those things happen, but the peace, the joy, it doesn't last. Laurie Santos points to research confirming this. After your basic needs are met, food, shelter, safety, increases in external wealth don't significantly improve daily happiness. One study she often cites found that beyond $75,000, additional income stops contributing to emotional well-being. Why? Because more money often means more responsibility, less time, higher comparison standards, and new sources of anxiety. In fact, Santos interviewed billionaires who admitted they had everything they thought they wanted and still felt deeply empty. The comparison trap. And even worse, we compare upward to the person who has more status, more love, more ease. Santos calls this the trap of comparing our insides to others' outsides. You scroll through someone's curated feed, and suddenly your own life feels insufficient, not because it is, but because comparison distorted your view. The Stoic angle, letting go of the next thing. Epictetus once said, freedom is not achieved by satisfying desire, but by eliminating it. Not all desire, of course, but the kind that hooks you into believing, just one more thing, then I'll be okay. So ask yourself, what are you chasing right now? Believing it will fix everything. Is it possible that the problem isn't what you lack, but what you expect that lack to solve? Maybe it's not your circumstances that need to change. Maybe it's your relationship to them. Let's be honest, there are seasons in life when it's just hard. Not because you're failing, not because you're broken, but because winter has come, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. Tony Robbins calls these seasons emotional winters. Life has seasons, and winters are when strong people are made. It's the time when things fall apart, when the smile is harder to fake, when you question the point of it all. But here's the thing, it's not despite the winter that we grow, it's through it. Suffering as the furnace of meaning. Harvard professor Arthur Brooks adds something profound. Some of the greatest meaning in life comes through suffering. That's not just poetic, it's biological. When we go through hardship and emerge with purpose, we build what researchers call post-traumatic growth. It's not that the pain disappears, it's that it transforms into wisdom, compassion, strength. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me, you begin to ask, what is this trying to reveal in me? Acceptance. appreciation, gratitude, joy. Both Robbins and Tal Ben-Shahar emphasize real resilience doesn't begin with positivity. It begins with acceptance. Ben-Shahar reminds us, only when we give ourselves permission to feel what we feel, without judgment, can we truly begin to heal. Acceptance isn't weakness. It's the first step to reclaiming your energy. Robbins teaches what he calls a beautiful loop: acceptance, appreciation, gratitude, joy. You can't shortcut the process, but you can trust it. Even in winter, something is growing beneath the surface. Strengths as shields. Positive psychology researchers, including Ben-Shahar and Martin Seligman, found that people who cultivate optimism, hope, perseverance, self-compassion, flow, are more resilient when facing depression, anxiety, and major life changes. So when life gets hard, your job isn't to fix everything. It's to plant roots, to practice strengths, to trust the process, to let the storm teach you without letting it define you. So here's what we've uncovered today. The pursuit of happiness becomes a trap when we misunderstand its nature. We get stuck on treadmills, trapped in expectations, chasing things that don't fulfill. But these obstacles, they're not dead ends. They're teachers, each one an invitation to grow stronger, wiser, more whole. When we embrace acceptance, reframe suffering, and shift our focus inward, we begin to find something deeper than pleasure, peace. In the next episode, Building Lasting Joy, Science-Backed Habits for a Richer Life, we'll explore the how, the specific rituals and mindsets that turn knowledge into transformation. Simple shifts, daily moments that slowly reshape a life from the inside out. So if this journey stirred something in you, consider subscribing. We go deep here, and every week we uncover what the mind hides and the soul longs to hear. Until then, breathe. You're not broken. You're becoming. This is Psychosophy, where psychology meets philosophy,